All right, I think we are officially at a point where we have seen the turning point, the official turning point for the Milwaukee Bucks. If you are not yet convinced that this is a championship contending team, then I think you should be now. Now, obviously, on paper, this team is a contender. If you have a team built around Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, you should be a contender. But over like the last couple of seasons, their play just has not suggested that. Things really haven't been clicking for this team since going out and making that trade for Dame. And it could be a million different reasons. There have been injuries that have come into play. So if we think about the postseason last year, Giannis and Dame either didn't play or missed significant time in that first round against the Pacers. There's the coaching stuff. So there's the fact that they went through a bunch of different head coaches over like the last couple of years since winning that title in 2021. So a lot of different weird stuff going on here and there with this Buck squad. And that's pretty much why they were never able to truly realize their potential. But right now, it really feels like this team is comfortably a contender out in the Eastern Conference. Like I said, if you didn't feel like they were over the last couple of games, and I think at this point, you need to put them in that conversation. Went undefeated in NBA Cup play. I think right now that's about 7-0 in NBA Cup play with this win, this championship win over the OKC Thunder. And this was just one of their best games of the season. If it was like a college basketball team, this would be like one of those resume building wins. They went up against the number one defense in the entire league. People have been raving about this OKC defense for the entirety of the season, rightfully so. But the Bucks had a really good offensive night against the top ranked defense in the entire league. Just did an amazing job. I think the most impressive thing about this game was the ball movement. So we're talking about beating a team like Oklahoma City and really trying to counter their defensive schemes. OKC is going to throw two on the ball a lot. So maybe if there's a situation where Giannis is posting up, they're going to have guys stun at him. They're probably just going to bring on a full-on double on Giannis. What I thought this team did an amazing job at was rotating the ball side to side, making that extra pass, and getting really good shots, right? Passing up those good shots for even better shots. I think they're around 25 assists in this game, which isn't astounding. I think on this season, they're around 24, which puts them in the bottom half of the league in that category. But still, eye test, this team's ball movement looked great. I think for the most part, the offense looked in sync. You had an efficient game from Damian Lillard individually. This season, he hasn't been the most efficient. I think it's kind of been the case for Dame since being here in Milwaukee. It's kind of been this lack of efficiency here and there, but he was efficient in this game. Looked very, very comfortable from really the start to the finish. Giannis, just another dominant effort. Again, I've said this about Giannis. I'm not going to continue to dwell on his game individually because I've talked about him a ton like over these last couple of weeks because I just think this is the best version of Giannis we've seen. But the all-around game has been great, right? I've always thought that Giannis is just simply so underrated as an all-around threat. Yes, he's a guy who can go out and get you 30-plus points per game. Yes, the talk of the season has been him adding that mid-range shot. Even when he's missing it, he looks really comfortable getting to his spots in that area. But there's also the rebounding, which is something he has been great at over the course of his career. There's the defense, and then there's the passing. Giannis is one of the most underrated playmakers in the entire league, right? I'm not just talking making really good, like one more passes in like short range. He's making amazing passes. He's like threading the needle, making these amazing skip passes here and there. He had one assist the other day in like a transition play against the Hawks in transition that looked absolutely sick. Like Giannis is a really good playmaker. He is an above average playmaker. I said this as well. If we put together a list of like the top 10 players in the NBA right now, Giannis is like in that upper echelon, that tier one of guys when it comes to playmaking, right? There's Jokic. There may be a few other guys in the mix there. And Giannis is well within like that tier one of playmaking amongst some of the best players in the league. And that all around skill set was shown off here again in this game. So the offense looked good. Offense looked in sync. They had a pretty solid 3-point shooting night in this game as well. It makes sense because they were getting really efficient looks, 41% from the 3-point line, which is really impressive against, like I said, the top ranked defense in the NBA. On to their defense. The Bucks have yet to really establish a strong defensive identity for the entire season. If you have been watching, though, over like these last couple of weeks, they have really tightened up on their defense a bit. They're gaining some rhythm on that end of the floor. I know that's an area that they've traditionally struggled in, largely this season and a bit last season as well. That was kind of the biggest dispute with them and Adrian Griffin was the defensive scheming. That was also a point of contention even when Budenholzer was there, like in his last little stretch. But the defense as of late has been great, especially in the clutch. Now, tonight, they didn't need to do a bunch of clutch defense because this game was pretty out of reach once they reached like that later part of the fourth quarter. But all night long, the defense was great, specifically Andre Jackson. So putting him in the starting lineup has obviously been a move because Chris Middleton just hasn't been available. But I think he has been such a good piece as far as being a tone setter on the defensive end. He was swarming SGA all game long, was really physical with him, was up on him, made him really uncomfortable. And like I said, just getting SGA off to a slow start like that, where he's really inefficient and kind of overshooting it just a bit, sets the tone for the rest of the game. The OKC offense just never truly got into a consistent rhythm. Amazing point of attack defense from Andre Jackson, and the entire team really followed suit on that particular end of the floor. Amazing defensive game for this Bucks team. Again, it's going to be super important for them to continue to establish a strong defensive identity if they want to continue on like this path towards true title contention. The theme is if you're not having an elite level defense or somewhat of an elite level defense, then you're not winning. You're not winning championships. That's a fact of the matter. And right now, in that starting lineup, there are two guys who have just been amazing on that end of the floor. There's Andre Jackson, and there's also Giannis, who made a number of really good defensive plays. Obviously, he's a former Defensive Player of the Year. Not surprising. And tonight, once again, just looked amazing on that end. Just a great two-way game for the Bucks against maybe the best team in basketball on a stage like this. And people want to diminish the NBA Cup as much as possible. I get it, but I think the NBA Cup is really, really good with helping a team establish a tone and establish some momentum. I talked about this on a video I made a couple of days ago. You can say what you want about the NBA Cup and the tournament or whatever the case may be. A win on this stage can help you build a ton of momentum. Now, last season, the Lakers won it, and they kind of lost their momentum afterwards. But I think for a Bucks team that's just been trying to get on the right foot, this is amazing for them. I think it gets them right back on the right path here. And like I said, I just think we're at a turning point with this team. I feel like right now I'm really comfortable with saying that the squad is officially like a contender in the Eastern Conference. It seems crazy that I didn't think they were before because you have Dame and Giannis, but still, like we've understood that just having talented players at the top does not make you a championship winning team. But now with how they've been playing, the basketball looks great. Things are fitting. I feel comfortable in putting them in that particular conversation. So great stuff here for the Bucks. Again, the hope is that they can continue this and really use this to continue this momentum as the season progresses. But amazing stuff. Hopefully the defense stays intact. The offense stays intact. They continue to move the ball well like they did tonight. But great stuff here for the Bucks, and I'm really excited to see what else the season has in store for them as they're looking to get back on that championship path that they haven't been on since 2021.